The end of the year is hands down one of the most stressful times for wedding photographers. The majority of your weddings are happening in this time, and with the weddings themselves also comes a whole bunch of editing. Now, with this huge tidal wave of weddings and editing coming at you at one point in time, and the holiday season and all the stuff with family and things like that, it can really hit you hard. But there are things that I do to help me out mentally so I don't just give up on everything. And I want to share those tips with you. Also, special shout out to this video sponsor, Squarespace. Thank you so much for sponsoring the video, and we'll be talking about them later. Tip number 1 is to shoot less. Now, this may be obvious, but it's something that I don't see a lot of photographers doing. I see them at their wedding days, especially when I second, and they have their camera on high shutter, and every time there's a photo opportunity, they're and it's just like, why are we shooting so many photos? Something that I've recently gotten into is just shooting less. I mean, even on my cameras, I turn down the high shutter speed to a lower setting. You can see this in my settings video, which I have right up above. But on my Fujifilm X-T5, instead of shooting at the full 7 frames a second, I'll push it down to 5. This way I can take single shots when I need to. The only time I'm really taking multiple shots is during group photos, or the ceremony, or maybe first dances, or anything like that where there's much more action. But when it's still life, when it's people getting ready, 1 or 2 shots. There's no reason to be taking 5 to 10 shots of still life objects during your wedding days. Obviously, by shooting less, you have less to upload to your computer, less hard drives to buy, and less culling, which leads into tip number 2, which is cull with the yes method. Now, the yes method is what I like to do when I personally cull, but basically instead of culling out, you're culling in. Now, the whole mentality behind the yes method is that it's much easier to say yes to things. We're so much more open to saying yes and allowing things into us rather than saying no and keeping things away. So because of that, I like to cull from a yes perspective, which makes me cull a whole bunch faster. Now, not only does it help me cull faster, but it takes out all the nitpicky of all the photos. Instead of being all precise and taking forever to cull, what I'll do is go through, and when something mentally hits me as a yes, I pick it automatically. Now, the downside to this is that I do overcull just a bit, but basically I can just recull that stuff out while I'm editing, so I don't mind it at all. Tip number 3 is giving yourself small wins, and I do this specifically while I'm editing. So pretty much while I'm editing my photos, instead of just having a big whopping 1,000, 2,000 photos that I need to edit, I break down my photos after I've culled them into sections of the wedding day. Now, by doing this, when I go to edit, my goal is not to edit all the photos up front, it's to finish sections. That way I can stop feeling accomplished. And feeling accomplished is one of the biggest things you'll need to do for yourself when you have a mountain of weddings that you have to edit. So to explain this further, basically I break down the wedding day into different sections of the day. Then from doing that, when I sit down to edit, I can do 2 to 3 to 4 sections and then stop and go hang out with the family. And instead of feeling overwhelmed, I can say, you know what? I finished 4 sections today of that wedding. That was really awesome. I know I have to go back and only have 3 to 4 more left, and it'll be all done. And if you're looking for a deeper explanation of this, I actually talk about the yes method of culling and also the small wins of editing in my Lightroom course. If you all aren't familiar with the course, it goes through this whole workflow that basically helps me with my mental health as far as it comes with editing a whole bunch of photos. On top of that, it'll help you understand Lightroom and also understand exporting and delivering photos to your clients. So make sure to check that out in the description below. But the small wins are absolutely huge, and I've been doing this for years. While it does take some extra time to set up the sections of the wedding days, it is worth it for me to be able to walk away from my work and not feel like I haven't done anything because I have 1,500 photos to edit and I only did, 200 or 300. It's just really switching the way you look at it. It's all perspective, because I can say, oh, I only edited 300 from the 1,500, or I edited 3 to 4 sections. So much more nicer to give yourself those small wins. Now, another thing that can help your mental health as well is having a great website, knowing that your clients have a way to find you and a beautiful way to book you. And you can do that with this video's sponsor, Squarespace. Having a great, reliable website that looks amazing as well for your clients to find you is huge for a business owner. Squarespace is going to allow you to do all those things quickly and easily. If you're not familiar with Squarespace, they're an online platform that will make it easy for you to build your first website. Choose one of their amazing templates, load your own photos into it, add some amazing text and a contact form, and you're ready to go with your first wedding website. On top of making it easy as well, they have great analytics so you can figure out where your couples are coming from and finding you from, and also commerce so you can sell products if you want to. I've personally used Squarespace myself for 8 years now, and it has really helped my business grow, and couples still find me to this day. Use the link in the description below for 10% off of your first website or domain, and make sure you have a solid place for people to find you. Because honestly, the biggest thing that's gonna help your mental health is knowing that your couples can find you and get in contact with you. Because if we're not booking anything, we're not making any money. Tip number 4 is using presets. Now, I know a lot of photographers want to sit there and act like, oh, using presets, you're not really editing, you're not doing anything. But as a wedding photographer, speed, efficiency, and consistency is the most important things for your business and for your mental health. This is why I use presets, and I do sell my own The Natural Feels preset, which you can check out in the description below. But by using a beautiful preset, basically, I don't have to think about my edit and how it's gonna look. I know no matter what the lighting situation is, what the wedding is, all my photos are gonna have an absolutely beautiful look to them and similar look. And that consistency helps my couples feel safe in what they're booking. It also speeds up the editing process. Did you know you can actually, in Lightroom, while you import your photos, lay your preset on the photos as they import? So basically, they come into Lightroom already edited, and then all you have to do is go back and use the quick editor to make changes to all your photos. This stuff is huge, y'all, because y'all want to sit there and be in every single wedding trying to figure out every single look, and you're like, my editing's not consistent, and I don't know what, because you keep doing different things. Make a preset out of your own settings. You can do that. I talk about it in my Lightroom course. Or buy a preset from someone else and use that as your base. But the main point is you need a foundation and a consistent point that you can get a workflow going that is nice, quick, and easy. So seriously, if you're against presets, you might want to reconsider it, especially if you want to get into bulk wedding photography. Because keep in mind, especially as a wedding photographer, you can make really good money very easily. But if you're not doing these things that help out with your mental health, and also help your speed and efficiency, you're not going to be able to do it. And tip number 5 is to use some type of AI editing or culling. So all the other tips are if you're going to be doing it yourself. Tip number 5 is if you want to really make it efficient and leave it to the computers. Now, I know everyone feels some kind of way about AI, but I have been using AI editing and culling for a hot minute now, and it's absolutely amazing. Honestly, like the better it gets, the more time I save, and I love it so much. One of the best AI culling and editing tools is Imagine AI. Currently, their AI culling is in beta still, but it works very well. They basically separate your photos into 3 different sections: your keepers, your maybes, and your probably nots. And then from there, you figure out which ones you want to keep and just make sure everything looks correct. Also, they will edit your photos for you. You upload 5,000 of your own already edited photos, and the AI learns your editing style and then will edit your photos for you. Or you can use talents, which the Natural Feels preset is a talent, and you can just lay that on your photo as well, and you don't have to do it. And this thing will edit your photos like whole wedding days in like 15-20 minutes. And the advantage there for wedding photographers is I can set up an edit and just walk away from my computer. Go take a nice break, go outside, go for a jog, hang out with my family, eat a meal at the table, and then come back and have it already be finished. Then I'll jump back in and just double check the edits, and boom, it's all done. I highly recommend you try out AI editing if you haven't, and I have a link in the description below for Imagine AI. Really, really check it out, because I cannot tell you, like, the yes method of culling is fast, but obviously a computer is going to be much faster. Protecting your mental health is huge for a wedding photographer, because we put a lot of stress on ourselves. Going to the wedding day itself is stressful physically and also mentally. You have to be on the whole day. You have to remember everybody's name. You got to make sure the couple's happy. It's a lot. But doing these things help out a great deal. And also checking out this playlist here which will teach you more about wedding photography, will help you build your foundation so that you're not so stressed every time a wedding comes up and you can handle your weddings in a nice and smooth way.